In this video, you're going to see a walkthrough of a SaaS app built using Bubble and my bullet launch boilerplate by Daniel, who is a brand consultant based in the Netherlands. I love this because it's another fantastic example of how consultants and agencies who already have paying customers have this amazing opportunity to solve problems for their customers using software and create a new revenue stream for their business. So Daniel runs a brand consultancy, and after all the work he puts in for his customers creating a new brand, he discovered that they all share the same problem. They find it really hard to maintain consistency with the new brand after the first couple of months. So he built an app to solve that problem. And on the face of it, the app seemed quite simple. It's like a content generation app, which uses a custom trained LLM to create things from blog posts to social media to scripts for videos and recipes and all kinds of stuff. But then he showed me the backend, the admin dashboard, and I was like, wow, okay, this is actually really complex. Everything he showed me on the front end was actually totally dynamic and customizable by the client. So I thought this is a really interesting build. Daniel talks about the evolution of the idea, the build process, and the traction he has so far. And I just think it's a fantastic example of what can be done relatively quickly using Bubble and Bullet Launch. I found it super inspiring, and I hope you do too.
So my name is Daniel. I'm living in the Netherlands, and I work for multiple companies. I've run a couple of startups, some successful, some less successful.
So how did you come up with the idea for this, and what does it do?
Okay, yeah, the idea is about writing content for our customers, and the sector in which we operate is all about brands, brand communication, marketing, brand identity. So what we experience is that we can do a very good consultancy job by designing a brand architecture for our customers, brand guidelines, and then we see that the first months after presenting the brand strategy and brand architecture, everyone tries to adopt and do their best to write content in line with the guidelines and the brand architecture. But after some time, yeah, everyone is busy and forgets all the beautiful things we designed for the brand. So that's why we thought, okay, probably we can design a tool that help our customers to write content in line with the brand philosophy, the brand architecture, the brand design. Now with the um, availability of large language models in all ways, all sorts, yeah, that became a real option. So first we start experimenting with what can LLMs like ChatGPT or Anthropic Claude can mean for our business, and yeah, we were quite impressed by the results we got, but we also discovered that it's quite difficult to get good results from the AI. Because writing a prompt seems to be simple, but writing constant prompts with constant and quality outputs, that's another story. At least that was our experience. So then we said, okay, let's see if we can create a kind of UX on top of the LLMs, so we can help our customers to focus on creating content instead of being bothered by all kind of technical stuff like prompting and RIG. I think that's called in English as well. It's retrieval augmented
Oh,
generation.
yeah.
So combining data with LLMs becomes, for marketing guys at least, complex if we bring such stuff. So that brought us to the idea to create a UX on top of large language models. So the idea was to make it easy for our customers to create content without all the technical things that comes with the LLMs.
So
So
it's a classic situation where you are running this brand consultancy, you have all of these clients who are using your services, and you spot this problem that they're all having, that they obviously spend probably a lot of money with you developing this fancy new brand, and then
Exactly.
they can't get their staff to stick to the brand, stick to the ethos of the brand in their writing, and then you say, okay, well, we've seen this problem you're all having. We've built a solution for you, and you can use it for a reasonable sum of X amount per month. And you've got
Yeah,
yourself another business. You've turned into a software
yeah,
business as well.
yes. Well, we're just in the beginning, but it looks very positive. So, yeah, I think that could be a realistic scenario. And on the other hand, we also got a lot of search requests. Or can you write an article, or can you write some content? And that's not really our business. So we just want to focus on other things. So we had to say no to a lot of customers when they came with such requests. So that didn't feel very uh, customer service focused as well. So actually, we solved two problems in one. So we help
Yeah,
our customers to be more self-supporting in writing good content. And on the other hand, we don't have to focus anymore on thinking how we have to find time to write such content for our customers, because of course we want to fulfill their requests, but it was a little bit of pain in the neck. So
yeah. There's nothing more painful than having to say no to a customer who wants to give you
exactly,
money, but you just don't
exactly.
have the time to help them.
Yeah,
And you have to send them elsewhere, and then who knows, they might find something elsewhere and then never come back to you.
yeah, exactly. So okay, that altogether, um, yeah, inspired us for the solution we have created, which I will demonstrate a little bit today. Actually, it exists out of two parts. So we have the front end that's shared in this screen, and we have a backend part, which I will share later on. The front end is customer focused, and this is what our customers see. So it's a very simple application. We like to keep it very simple. That's we have experienced that's actually a big challenge, because everyone comes with feature requests and wants to make things, yeah, complicated. So for us, it's the challenge to keep things real simple, so that it's intuitive and user friendly. Okay, on the left-hand side, we see the menu where we have a couple of options: content, workflow. It's in Dutch with bibliotheek as library. We have the calendar, and we have some pictures. I will go through them step by step. So content is all about creating content. And in this screen, you can select a topic. So for instance, vacancies, vacatures in Dutch. And when you click on the topic, the system presents a couple of tools, as we call them. So here we see two tools. It's a create a vacancy, vacancy text. I don't know if that's the correct word, but it describes the job.
Hmm.
Okay, job description and some social media tool. And when you click on the tool, then you will get a list of questions. And that has been very important to make a translation of what the customer wants to achieve to a simple format. So what we try to do is that every tool we try to design 4 up to 6 questions which frame the question of the customer. So in this case, he wants to write a vacancy text, and then we have four
What is a
questions.
vacancy text?
Oh yeah, sorry, that's probably I think it's a job description. So
Okay.
we need, yeah, so someone needs
So
to,
one of your clients might be trying to hire someone and they want to write a
yeah,
job description, but they want it to
exactly,
adhere to their brand ethos. Okay, that makes
exactly. Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah. Um, so then for each tool, we have preset some questions, and those will be filled in by the user. Clicks on generate, and the content will be generated. So actually, it's the same for all tools we see here. This is an inspiration for recipes. This customer is in the food business and wanted to create fresh content every week about inspiring his customers for new recipes. So here there's simply one question. So you specify the ingredients, red onion in this case. We click on generate
Onion is just
and
UI.
onion, Onion,
Yeah, yeah.
onion.
But
Yeah, yeah.
in Dutch, is it
Oh,
just
yeah, it's yeah, UI. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
you? How do you pronounce that?
Ui, rode ui.
Rhoda. Oh,
Ui.
wow.
Yeah.
Usually you see some similarity between the words, but I can't believe it's
Yeah.
just two letters.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Most of the cases, the other way around. That's you in English have a shorter
Yeah,
word.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Citrus vinaigrette.
Yeah. Then the query is passed to our backend, which is based on LangChain. I don't know if you know the system. It's
Ye-
a kind of workflow for connecting all kind of large language models and perform some actions on that. Then it comes back with the result. So if the user likes the content that's created, uh, he can send it into a workflow. So push on the button, then it's sent to the workflow. And the workflow is a kind of environment where the users of the client work together. So it's a very simple sort of Kanban board where we have three columns. So in the first column, the IDs are posted. So the ID I just content generated for is posted here. Then the second column is selected IDs, and the third column is approved IDs. So when you click on a card, then the content is shown. You can amend. There's a glitch in the software. You can amend the content that is generated. We show the original questions and answers that have been filled in, or the questions that have been answered by the user. We added this feature because if you want to amend the result, uh, sometimes you want to tweak the answers a little bit. So here you can tweak the answers and then process um, the tool again. So then it will regenerate the content based on the tweaked answers. There's a feature to add feedback. So when people work together, they can comment the content and what they see. And one other cool action is what we call vervolgacties, follow-up actions. I think that's in English. So based on the content, we can fire some other actions. So in this case, we can create a LinkedIn post or Instagram post for the content we have created. And when we press this button, then it fires a request to the background and will place a new ID on the Kanban board.
Nice.
So probably, yeah, here it's, so now it's generated and put it on the board, and that can be taken through the flow. Um, when content is approved, then normally it will be added to a content library. So you press on this icon, and it's moved to what we call the content library. And the content library is a collection of all the content that has been approved and that's can be used by the customer. Now, within this overview, you see the approved content, and you can either add it back to a workflow, or you can add it to the calendar. And then on the calendar, you select a date and a time, put it on the calendar. And the calendar, that's under development at the moment. There we will provide content and connect actions to the content. Kieran helped us and did some advice on how we can schedule these contents in an easy way to the Bubble schedule environment. And then automatically the content will be placed on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever platform we support. But that's in the works. And then finally we have the pictures part, and there yeah, we have a place where all the brand pictures can be stored and can be used in the creation of content, because that's one of the things that we need to pay attention to with our customers, that they use the brand pictures and do not start generating all kind of pictures that do not is in line with the brand philosophy or the brand architecture.
Are you currently storing all of the images on the Bubble database?
Yeah, that's the current
Yeah, it may be
the way it
something
works.
in there may be something in the future that you'll want to store the images on an external database just to because Bubble database is fantastic, but for storing lots of data, there are cheaper ways, like if you're storing videos and images.
Yeah, okay, okay, that's a good advice. Um, so that's, yeah, in short, the app we have created. So
I
putting
love
it with,
the simplicity. It just even though it's written in a language that I don't understand, it all makes perfect sense. The
okay,
way it works.
thanks.
I can imagine
Yeah,
using it.
yeah, that's what our customers like as well. So we are now in the phase that we are running pilot projects. So we have 6 or 7 customers which are using the solution, giving us feedback, and of course that feedback um, we take and amend the features a little bit, or
So
learn from it. Yeah.
each different customer has a different list of topics here. Is that
Yeah,
right?
that's a good question, and let me share my other screen. That's the backend part of the application.
Yeah.
So stop sharing this one.
Because
Uh,
that yeah, that increases the complexity of the build for you.
yeah,
It would be
yeah,
very simple if they all had the same topics and you just had
yeah,
to put in
yeah,
the same prompts.
yeah. That's how we started. But then came in a lot of requests, and we said, okay, we have to make it more flexible. Um, so we work together with partners, and this is the partner dashboard. And every partner serves multiple customers, klanten, and in the backend, each partner can create new customer accounts. And then the partner has what we call a tool library. And in the tool library, that's a kind of default tooling that the partner offers to his customers. So every tool has a description, but the most important thing is that every tool has some specific questions. That were the questions you saw in the front end. And also we have a group library, and that's about some standard groups of tools, as we call it. And that are actually the tiles also in the front end that can be configured. Now, in the group library, that are the standard groups. The tool library are the standard tools, but of course, every customer can have his own configuration. That's the customer configuration part. And in this part, you select your customer, and this is actually what we just saw in the front end. So this are the groups where you see here that was the upper part of the front end, and these are the tools that are displayed. And this can be configured, so we can add tools. And then it's added, and now it's real time also available in the front end. And one of the most important parts for us is what we called the brand configurator. And the brand configurator is the framework that is used to generate the content in line with the brand architecture. So what you see here is brand elements. I think archetype, that probably is it's the same in English. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a
Brand
word, but
archetype. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't really know what it means actually.
Okay. Or the brand's promise, or the payoff, or the tone of voice. That are all brand components.
Yeah.
And when we take a deeper look into that, these are actually the instructions that are used in the LLMs to create yeah, perfect content. So it starts with a description, but this is the toepassing, the use of the brand element. And this describes quite in detail what it means in terms of content. So it should express trust and loyalty and all kinds of consultancy stuff on brand architecture and branding. And then also some examples on how that is in practice.
And do you find that the AI models, you're able to get them to pay close attention to these instructions?
Yeah, actually, that has been a lot of work to set up a model that can take this input and create good output. So we have spent a real lot of time in that, in tuning, fine tuning, and training. As I said, we use the LangChain framework for this as well, so we can create a kind of workflow and chain of prompts, chain of thoughts. So that's quite a complex
Yeah, well, that's
algorithm
great.
to create to create the content in line with the brand architecture, and that's actually the most important part of our solution. If
Yeah, and it's probably
uh,
yeah, it's probably the
yeah,
hardest part to get right
exactly,
because
exactly, and to
I
keep
can
it
never
right
get
because
AI to stick to my instructions.
exactly, and it changes all the time.
Yeah,
But we have also some tasks running on a local LLM, so that's where we are in control because we maintain the model ourselves. So
Hmm.
that helps a lot. So yeah, that's how the backend is constructed. So we have customers. For each customer, we can create a configuration. We have some groups that are the top menu or tiles in the interface. Every group exists out of some tools. The tools are also made client customer specific because we have the tool library, but that's a kind of template or base for the tools, and you can tweak them or amend them to the specific requirements of the customer. And tweaking is, yeah, in most of the cases, about adding some extra questions. But you also can create here total new tools which are not in the library. That's then a customer specific tool.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's like the front end, it kind of initially appears nice and simple because obviously that's what you want your customers to be using. But then when you see the back end and you realize that actually everything in the front end is dynamic and is controlled from this
It is,
partner
yeah,
dashboard,
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah,
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 the
yeah.
possibilities are endless and it's super cool. I love how you built it. Who was it, you that built the whole thing, or did you have other people working on it?
Well, I built it myself. That's quite a new experience for me because I have a background as software engineer, but that's a long time ago. And then you developed in C++ and that kind of language concepts. Uh, in the past, I lead quite large team of developers, uh, but of course that are brilliant people. But one of the things I found always challenging was how can I translate the customer needs into features that are simple, and I don't have discussion with the team about all kind of technical stuff. So that's what I really like with this no-code environment, combined with your Genius templates. Yeah, it made me um, capable of configuring and building this myself. So it's really nice. I'm a little bit addicted to building and refining the solution. And then every now and then I, of course, ask for help from experts like you or other people in the field that can help me.
Well, yeah, it's funny because
Yeah,
if you're a long time software developer,
yeah,
I've been trying to learn to code for a decade now, and I could never make it stick. Um,
yeah.
so yeah, it's funny that you need to come to me for some questions, but yeah, I would need to come to you for a lot, I'm sure. What what would you say to like a traditional developer who had never used Bubble before, and they were kind of still doing things the old school way? Would you encourage them
Okay.
to check it out?
Well, yes, I would encourage them to check out Bubble, and my advice would be forget 90% of what you have learned in the fundamental programming and language concepts, because that can hold you from building in pace. Because my biggest pitfall was thinking a little bit about the structures and all the theories about relational database or vector databases or that kind of stuff. But that is all handled by Bubble, and it's yeah, it handles a lot of for you. The
Are you worried about
the
things?
opposite of that is that you don't have control in what's happening. So that feels sometimes a little bit uncomfortable, but you have to, yeah, accept that, and you make that step. You can. go really fast. That's my experience up to now. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say like the I can tell that you've got some software experience because the database structure must be quite complicated because you need to make all the stuff dynamic for each client and the partner dashboard in particular. So that must have been very helpful to have that background when you were
Yeah,
doing that part.
yeah, I think that helps a lot. Yeah, modeling and understanding architectures and that kind of
And do you have any
knowledge. It helps a lot.
concerns about scaling and things like that? Because I know a lot of developers say, "Oh, no code can't scale," and they're constantly worried about that kind of thing.
Well, it's one of the questions I have. We discussed it briefly as well, Kieran. Well, we don't have enough experience now um, to say yes, it scales or not. But when I look at the user base of Bubble and quite a lot of companies running apps with a lot of users on Bubble, so the backend is AWS, which is very scalable. So, well, we will see what happens.
Yeah,
I always see that as a kind of luxury problems because when we have lots of customers, then that's a good thing. And we will always be capable of handling the scaling issues if they come up. But looking at the scale of one customer, then it's pretty small. So if we have good constraints on our tables with privacy rules, which are very, very powerful in the Bubble, uh, yeah, I think we won't face performance problems, but we have to experience that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a nice problem to have. But
exactly.
yeah, from what I've heard from people, it's as long as you build your database structure and your app interfaces sensibly, then it should be able to scale just fine.
Yeah, we created a lot of smaller tables, data types instead of a few data types with a lot of attributes. So we keep it as yeah
Yeah,
um, small as possible.
yeah,
So and then
great.
with relations we get the other info. Yeah.
And can you estimate like what if you had been building this with code, say on your own, versus building it with Bubble and with Bullet Launch as well,
Yeah.
you estimate the difference in time it would have
Oh,
taken?
yeah. That's a factor 20 or higher,
You
20
think
times more.
20?
Yeah, yeah, or even more probably. Yeah. Yeah.
How long did it take you to build this to this point now?
We've been working on this for 3 months.
Wow.
The
Okay.
building part, and of course the backend, the training of the AI. That took I think 8 months
Okay.
because we started with that, and then we said, okay, we need a good UX. Yeah, we were convinced by the capabilities of AI in supporting our customers. But as in my introduction, I thought that even if it seems that prompting is simple, it isn't in practice. So when we experienced that, we said, okay, we need to create a UX on top of the LLMs. And then we started to Google for no code environments, and probably per accident, I selected Bubble because I compared, I think, the two or three platforms. I don't even remember which, but I tried a little bit, and I said, okay, I like the Bubble stuff. Just
Yeah.
started. After one day, I said, okay, quite a lot of work. Let's see if there is a theme or a template. No, then I found your template, and that gave it a kickstart.
How did you find the
Yeah.
template?
By looking into the marketplace,
Ah,
the Bubble marketplace, I think, or probably through Google because I was searching for probably a kind of boilerplate or scaffolding.
Yeah.
Um, but that probably that are too technical search
Okay. Well, if it's showing up in
spots.
Google,
Yeah.
then that's great because yeah,
Mm.
I have no
Mm.
idea what my SEO is like. So if you found it through Google, that's amazing.
Yeah, or probably through YouTube. I can't remember, but
Yeah, I've not put enough on
um,
YouTube. I need to do some more.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And then I really liked your example project, and that inspired us to create the UX that we have created. So yeah, that has been really, really helpful. So thank you for that.
yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, this has been, it's just so good to see something like this being built, and I think it's such a good use case for agencies, consultants, anyone who's working with clients where they are being paid for their time. And there's always opportunities like this to identify these issues and provide software solutions. Because chances are they're all using a hodgepodge of kind of off the shelf software that doesn't
Yeah,
truly fit
yeah,
what they need. So if you
yeah,
can make something custom for them, know it with the knowledge you have of their business, and the fact that they're already used to paying you money for
yeah,
your services. So if you say to them, you know, I've got this product, they already trust you. They'll be happy to pay for it. I would assume in most situations. So
yeah,
it makes
yeah.
perfect sense.
That helps a lot that we have an established customer base, because it was actually not a lot of it cost us not a lot of energy to find the first pilot customers. And that's really helpful because if you don't have feedback from real life customers, then you never, well, not never, then it will be more complex to learn about the user experience. So we really like to go out, and if we don't shame us for the product, we are too late. That's what we always say. So we go out really early. We start to test things together with customers. Um, and we started without the user interface. Started with ChatGPT like stuff, but what we then learned was that customers don't like to work with that, or most of the customers, and really didn't understand what happens. And they also need a way to collaborate together. So that came up the idea of the Kanban board, which was initially not in your template. So I struggled with creating something myself, and I was really happy that you have added that feature. Uh,
Yeah,
so
I'm
then,
glad I did. I can't remember why I did. I don't think anyone was asking for it, but
okay,
I just thought I'd add it. Um,
uh,
but yeah, I think it shows that like everyone who's not building stuff because they say, well, they could just use ChatGPT to do the same thing. The fact is, most people do not want to use ChatGPT, or they don't know how to get the best responses out of it. And they
exactly.
don't want to use a conversational chatbot. They want this kind of UI that they're used to with the way of
Yeah,
organizing things. And
yeah,
that's where, I mean, obviously in your case, you've trained the AI and worked really hard on getting the output really
yeah, yeah,
solid. But
yeah,
even in simpler scenarios, I think people would rather have a UI that does exactly what they need than have just a chat interface. So
yeah.
I still think
That's yeah.
there's loads of opportunity for people
Yeah,
to add
yeah, I think
value.
so. Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, that's what we experienced for sure in the market. Yeah.
Super interesting. Well, I won't take up any more of your time, but thank you so much for showing us the product.